Good morning, everyone. And you're all very welcome. Delighted to have you all here this morning. So, my name is Brian Cremen and I'm a director of OvaCare, and I'm also going to be the chair for today's session. And it's always a bit daunting at the start when you're here early in the morning wondering, will people turn up and will they show up, and the nervousness you have. And I usually run 10 to 10, there's no one here, and about 10 past 10 everybody is here. So it's great to have such a great number here today, and you're all very welcome. Officially, on behalf of all of us in OvaCare, I want to welcome all of you to what's now our 4th year holding these patient days. Little did we know when we set this up in 2011 that we would be holding as many patient days as we have, and how successful they have been. And we do this because of the demand from yourselves to have these events where you can come and share your experiences and have your questions asked, and even more importantly, have your questions answered. Just some very simple housekeeping rules and stuff. So look, exits, just find the nearest emergency exit. You can see them here, clearly marked. Lunch will be at 12:30 downstairs in the restaurant. Mobile phones, if you could put them on silent or switch them off completely, would be great. And in terms of parking, for those of you that parked down in the car park underneath, you'd have gotten a ticket and so on. Make sure you get that validated at reception when you're leaving, because it'll save you having to pay a lot of money on the machine downstairs. It's about a tenner, I think, at reception, as opposed to what someone told me this morning. It could cost you €31.50, I think, if you pay downstairs, right? So look, we even have a deal already on the table, €21.50 of a saving for the day. So you'll all have received your packs when you came in. What I would ask you to do, if you could, is there's a little name, a blank white sticker in there. Just put your name on it and proudly stick the sticker onto yourself, so as we all know each other's names. It makes it very easy, much easier for us all to go and talk to each other during the day and so on, when we can see the names. And another reason why the name is in there, it's a great opportunity for us to get to know each other, and particularly for us to know, what each other's experiences and stories are, so as we can share them. Today's programme itself is designed to cover the physical, emotional and lifestyle effects of ovarian cancer. And while we want to give you as much information as possible, and the day is structured in that way to give you information, what's much more important about this is to give you an opportunity, as I said already, to get your questions asked and answered. So there's loads of opportunity for that. We'll have questions and answers sessions at 12 o'clock, again at 3 o'clock. Lunch, as I said to you, is at 12:30. Loads of opportunity to mingle and nab the speakers that you want to go and ask your own question to. If you have a question as well that you're kind of saying, I don't really want to ask that question out in front of everybody with a roving microphone and all that kind of stuff, right? There's a question box down the end here. So write out your question, put it into the question box, and I'll actually make sure the question is asked for you and answered later on. Okay? So no excuse now not to get your question answered. As most of you will know, but for those of you that this is your first event, OvaCare was set up in 2011, and our mission is to improve the diagnosis and education of ovarian cancer within Ireland through sharing global research and best practice, and also to provide support and advocacy through OvaCare's dedicated support network. The inspirational story behind OvaCare is that of our founder and chair, June Feeney. And June was and is and will consider herself to always be an ovarian cancer patient. And we always start off these patient days with a patient story. Just someone who wants to come and share their experience and so on. But today we have a bit of a twist. And I'm not going to say any more now. It all will become very, very clear. So we have Sinead Dineen. And we met Sinead in the patient day in Galway back in November. And I suppose we were struck by the unique way in which she was coping with what she was going through, and she was doing it through the whole area of art. So, as I said to you, it's a patient story with an artistic twist, right? So I'll say no more, because I know Sinead from last November, and she'll kill me if I ruin her great story. So, Sinead, come up here, take your place amongst the nations of the earth, and have your speech.
Thank you very much. You're all very welcome here. It's an honour and a privilege to be here, actually, speaking with my community and for my community as well. So my name is Sinead Dineen. I'm from Limerick. I'm a lecturer in visual art education, and I'm an artist also. And I did a lot of different types of art before I was diagnosed. And then when I was diagnosed, and around that time, I felt a massive and overwhelming urge to record it in my own way. And this is a little bit about that. So I'm going to have a little bit of a journey about my actual medical condition as well as my art journey, and they're actually very much combined. So the art of loss, really, I think in art and illness, there's a lot of literature in modern art and illness, and I suppose when we get sick, what is very not as common when we get sick is really the feelings of loss and the patient. The patient sometimes loses out a little bit and the condition takes over. And it's very interesting in popular media that popular media is social or kind of focuses on happy endings for things. And reality is reality, and not everything is a happy ending. And I was kind of, during my sickness, I was thinking about all these, the good story, and it's always a very positive things, and they're great, and it's great to hang on to those kind of happy endings. But reality does bite sometimes, and it's sometimes hard to go through that as well and realise this is a very, very serious sickness that I have got, and it impinges on me and my family. What's less talked about is the process of living, is coming to terms with the chronic illnesses, and also my mortality and inevitable loss. And it might be not necessarily loss as in death, but it might be loss of the life that you had before. And I found that very significant for me. The artworks being presented represent the narrative of my journey through my diagnosis and of ovarian cancer, and especially when it involves, for a female, the reproductive system. And when I got diagnosed, one of the first things I did was I was in my hospital bed, and I went back to being 16 years old or 17 years old, and I went back to my biology class, and I started drawing the female reproductive system. And I remember I was great at that part of biology. I wasn't great at the other parts of biology, but my drawings were fabulous, if I may say so myself. So I found it very easy to remember where everything should have been. And even to this day, and I haven't drawn the reproductive system since, actually, since I got diagnosed. So it's very interesting where we go back to, or where our mind goes back to when we are hit with illness. The feelings of loss can be overwhelming with ovarian cancer patients, as I'm sure you know, and sometimes it can be very a lonely existence. And even for myself, I never met a person with ovarian cancer until I went to Galway to OvaCare, and I was a little apprehensive about it because I didn't really know what to expect. And now, whether you like it or not, I'm part of your community, so I'm okay with that. The body of art visually documents some of the journey through my diagnosis, and I've got an art exhibition in the corner over here, which we'll go as part of this talk to look at and to analyse and go to, and maybe we can have some questions or I can talk about it. Very quickly, I suppose, just to kind of contextualise where my art and my illness came. I had a routine minor operation in 2013, and then from that it was a gallbladder issue that turned out to be stage 4 ovarian cancer, and then within a few weeks I had full hysterectomy, and then on to chemotherapy, which I'm still on until the end of this year, possibly 2016. And I started going to art therapy, and I started using other alternative types of therapy as well. And I used art, to document various stages and emotions, incidents, discourse, research. And what I did was 5 days after my hysterectomy, I wanted to record my physical wound. And I was thinking about it and waking up day after day in the hospital going, I need to get this done. I don't know why I want to do it, but I need to record my body as it is right now. So I asked a female friend of mine who is an artist and a photographer to come to my house a few days afterwards, and I looked at some of the classical paintings in our culture, say in Renaissance paintings or more modernist paintings, and we talked about the poses. So I was kind of reclining, and I was in various different poses, and all totally nude, which is a very brave and significant thing for me, because I wouldn't have done that before. It was a really good experience, and very cathartic experience for me and for the people in the room. I'd invited just a few very close friends and family, and then my partner as well. And it was more a celebration, and we kind of moved on from there. But I found using those artworks actually in my art after that, and I thought I would, but I thought, it's a little bit, you know, with the body image these days, everything's like, preened and beautiful and tanned and that, and here was my very unhealthy, very yellow-looking body with a big gash here, and it wasn't the type that we kind of associated with our modern society of a particular woman of a particular age. So anyway, from an art point of view, I would have been looking at art history, and I would have been looking at the likes of Frida Kahlo around the 30s in Mexico, a very, very strong female figure in art, and she had a chronic illness since she was about 15. She had an accident in the bus, and she really destroyed her back, and then ever since, she died quite early, but she had major health complications for all of her life, but it didn't stop her. And this is an amazing picture. She had tons of operations, and you see her painting with a mirror in pretty much full cast in her bed. And she would produce loads and loads of paintings, and would have exhibited internationally as well. And I think she's quite a strong influence, because she, looks at illness and art together hand by hand, and it doesn't stop her from, doing what she wants to do as well. Another lady I actually studied in college, and she passed away she died when I think it was 1993, and she was very strong. She was an English lady called Jo Spence, and she had breast cancer, and she got quite upset when the doctors were telling her, we're going to take away the breast, we're removing it, and she found the language very harsh. And she started doing a series of performance pieces, and this is one performance piece. And on the left breast, if you can't read it from there, it says property of Jo Spence with a question mark. So whose property is this breast? And she, for me, would have been very strong, influence-wise. And there is loads of other artists who actually deal with art and illness who would have inspired me. These are just some of the many. So I'm going to invite you all to come over to the art exhibition, which is over here. Actually, what I might do, sorry, I've lied. I'll get you to come over in a minute. Maybe I'll set you up for the next thing first. What's going to happen is, if you haven't noticed, on your tables I've got little art packs, and I've got sewing equipment, and I've got a little bit of glue and scissors and other things, and everyone has an art pack, okay? And if you don't have an art pack, there's a few here on other tables, and so don't you worry about it. And if you surgeons in the room, we're expecting a lot of good things from you, right? No pressure. I can't see any surgeons, but I know you're there. Sewing comes into my art an awful lot, and you'll see a lot of sewing. And sewing, I'm not a natural sewer, I can sew, but actually one of our other patients, Maureen, brought in a beautiful piece. Where's Maureen gone to? Over there. She bought a fabulous piece of sewing, which puts my sewing to shame. And I exhibited next to my exhibition, so take a look at Maureen's piece as well, and it's quite beautiful. But I did a lot of sewing, probably because it's a natural therapeutic movement. It's a continuous movement. Also, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the stitching up, the putting back together again, like what a lot of it had to do is repair. So it's a repairing mechanism. And I found I was quite angry doing some sewing aspects of my work, There might be a little bit of language that you mightn't be used to in some aspects. That's how angry I was. But anyway, so sewing was a big part. So what I was thinking, and I've done it once before, was I was thinking I'd like you to sew something for yourselves or to share with the group. And I'll just skip on, for here. So in a few minutes we'll go and take a look at the actual exhibition and some of Maureen's work as well. And I would invite you to interact with this artwork and participate with this, what we call as an art practice. I would like you to sew significant words or phrases or quotes or symbols or memories onto the pieces of fabric that you find inside in the pack. And I've got pre-threaded thread and needle in there. Now, if you don't like the colour, you can change it around, or myself and my sister Emer, we've loads of other types of threads and needles, so don't feel compromised by the needle or the colour of it. If you're very focused on what you want, that way I will sort you out. But the thing is to try and think about a word or a symbol or a memory that stuck with you before, during or after, or to this day, or a quote from a family friend, or a symbol to do with you and your illness or where you are, or if you're a family member, to do with maybe a past loss of yours. And it's around the topic of loss, art, participation may arise, all these things may arise. And I'd love, it would be really nice if you could chat. You know the way when a lot of people sew, they kind of tend to go into groups or twos or threes. If you feel like doing this as a solo activity, just come and do it solo. With your permission, the artwork will be displayed along my artwork over here. But say if that absolutely freaks you out, just pop it into your bag and keep it. There's no pressure on anyone to share at any stage, either during participation or for the display. And if you didn't want to participate at all, that's absolutely no problem at all, you know, so don't feel any obligation. So will we go and take a look at the artwork? Yeah? Great. Hello everyone. Hi. Thank you for participating with the exhibition. The next bit then is open your packs. And if you want to start by opening your packs, and am I a bit too close to that, am I? Okay. Open your packs and you'll find a tiny little bit of chalk in your packs, and you'll also find different types of material, from hessian to paper to cardboard and other things, right? And each pack is a little bit different. They're the brown paper packs. I've already threaded some needles, so use those needles, or there's other things in the middle of your table that you can use as well. Have a think about the word or the phrase or the symbol you want to put onto one piece of fabric, or maybe you want to use two. Draw it in with chalk and then sew the word or the symbol or the quote or whatever you want to put into it. Okay? And when you're finished that, we can do it now, and then if there's anyone finished, you can actually bring your pieces, and I've got blue tack at the table, and you can post them in the participant section in between the veil and the chemo art on the right, so in the middle. Any questions about that? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come around to every table and we can have a chat. Is that okay? Are you first? Okay, it's me back again. We're all getting on really well. There's some really, really interesting work happening, and it's lovely. And it's a lovely, gentle, talkative sort of social thing as well, and very gentle. So first of all, thank you for participating. I really appreciate it. And the other thing is, if you're finished, there's blue tack in the middle of your table, and you can pop your pieces over here with the rest of the participants. or you can continue. There's no need to rush. You can continue and put your pieces up during the day, right up until the very end if you want to. Maybe if you wouldn't mind, just when you're finished, just put everything back into your little packs and into the middle of the table, so there's no loose needles hanging around. We wouldn't want any repercussions. Thank you very much for your time and for your creative energy.